Do you own your copyright if you've not registered it with the Copyright Office? And the following question that I often get from my clients, I'm a real entertainment attorney. I do this all the time as far as enforcing copyrights, registering copyrights. The next question is usually, well, is my copyright and therefore my music protected? Well, if you have this question, I'm going to answer it in today's video. So where I want to start is just by kind of going over the basics when it comes to copyright so you understand what we're talking about. So copyright by definition are your wonderful ideas fixed into a tangible medium. Okay, so under the law, we're not just going to protect all your great ideas because that just would be extremely difficult. So what the government has done is said, well, once you take your great ideas and you put it into some kind of tangible medium, right? So it could be like right here, I have a little, pen and pad. As soon as I write down my great lyrics, as soon as I record my melody into my phone, it's now in a tangible medium. Therefore, I now have copyright protection. So the government thought ahead and they go, we really want to empower people and protect people. So they're making great things and they are contributing towards the creative arts and development of science. So that's kind of the overall thinking. And so for us, that's great. So the baseline rule that we all need to know is copyright exists as soon as we make the thing. Okay. So then going back to the question of, well, if I haven't actually registered my copyright though, how does that impact me? Do I lose my copyright? Can I not enforce my rights? Great questions. So we know about what's, essentially automatic copyright protection. Well, what happens is that if you don't actually get a registration, you are going to lose some benefits. So the government really wants to entice you to register your things, right? If you make a movie, if you make a song, if you write a script, if you write lyrics, anything creative, if you don't register it, you are going to lose some rights. So let's talk about what those benefits are that you are going to get by going through taking the time, paying the fee to get an actual registration. So one of those things is just that there is now a public record. And what I like to say is that the Library of Congress, aka the Copyright Office, is just a glorified file keeping system. So some people, they're like, well, if I put the wrong information on my application, or they're going to see it's the same name as someone else's song, am I going to get rejected? Well, there is a real human being looking at your application, but they're not analyzing it to be like, well, did you and Johnny really write that song? Right. So they're not going to examine it with that kind of scrutiny. But what they are going to look at is, did you put in the right information? Did you miss anything? So sometimes if you do make some little mistake, you'll get an email from the Copyright Office. But in any case, once you have filed with this glorified file keeping system, you now have a public record. And you can also do searches on the copyright website, which is copyright.gov, to search for other people's copyrights. Okay, so that's all good news. But something that a lot of people don't think about is when you see the actual copyright notice. So think maybe of a website. If you go to a website, at the very bottom, very often it might show the company's name or the website developer's name. So cool website developer name, and then there's the C in a circle. So that's also copyright management information. And you also get great protection just by having that and giving public notice to everyone in the world that you own that thing. So that's number one. Number two, we're talking about legal protection as far as your ability to do some serious damage if someone comes and steals your stuff. Right. So as a not only entertainment attorney, but actually a copyright attorney, I sue people when they steal my clients, let's say music or films or whatever it is. We have to actually have the registration before we can sue. That's non-negotiable. You gotta do it. But the timing of when you get your registration really matters. If you wait super long and it's like you released your song and like 10 years have gone by, you can still go and get the registration. That's okay. But what happens is that you lose some of the super awesome benefits that you get of registering the song, let's say right when it came out or even before it came out. And these are what we call statutory damages. So under, the law, the government's like, hey, here's a super great incentive. If you register your song by the time that you are releasing it, or like within a few months, 3 to be specific, you can get what are called statutory damages. And this means that you can sue someone and get up to $150,000 per infringement, which is great news because, a lot of times if someone steals your song and they like distribute it, they make $1,000. Well, it's not going to do you much good to go hire an attorney, pay $50,000 in attorney's fees, and then get $1,000. So here you get not only statutory damages, so there's a pot of money there that's set by law, but you can also get your attorney's fees. So those two things go away if you wait too long to get your registration. So huge benefit there of actually getting it and getting it as soon as possible. Music Attorney is your #1 legal resource for artists, producers, and record labels. Get contract templates, one-on-one legal advice, free master classes, and everything you need for your music business. Go to topmusicattorney.com. But then also, some people are like, well, how can I, how do I prove that it's my copyright? Well, the proof that the government says is that piece of paper. There's a presumption of validity. And, I've seen some websites where they're talking about like, oh, if you upload your music to our platform, we'll put you in our super secret system and we'll be able to prove that you're the copyright owner. And I just laugh at this because it's very misleading. The government has already said it. There's a presumption you are the owner because you have the piece of paper. It's that simple. You don't have to go and pay anybody else. You just get the registration. And then also, if you want to get a little fancy on this, you can have international protection as well. There's the Berne Convention, without going too far into it. But basically, a bunch of countries all got together and agreed to this treaty to basically say that if you do have your copyright, it will be respected and enforced in other countries as well. All super great things. So, then the question is, do you need to register your copyright? Well, I guess no, if you never intend on enforcing it. But again, with like some of these companies that will just promote to you and say, pay our service fee and upload your music and we'll have a super awesome stamp and a piece of paper that says you're the owner. What I'm explaining is that in order to actually get a registration, you got to do it through the Copyright Office. There's no workaround, and you don't have to go and prove anything because you got the piece of paper, which is the presumption that you're the owner, right? Well, do I own my copyright if I don't register? The answer is yes. Under the law, you have automatic copyright protection as soon as you make the thing, but it does not have the value of really what we're saying. The value is that if you need to enforce your copyright, you can go sue. You can only sue if you have the piece of paper. The value is that you can then get paid. Well, if you can only get your actual damages because you waited too long to actually get the registration, that's going to hurt you down the line. We want to get you statutory damages. We want to get you your attorney's fees. So it's not just getting the registration, but get it basically by the time you're releasing your music. Just make it part of what you do. And then there's the presumption that you're the owner, and it's going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to actually enforcing your copyright, because it's just a matter of when, not if, something's going to come up. So anyway, I hope you find this video helpful. Please give it a big thumbs up and share it with someone who can learn a couple of things so we can help them to grow.